Hi everyone! Welcome to 21st Century Literature of the Philippines and the world. Welcome to school year 2020 to 2021. I know I already sent to you the video of the overview of 21st Century Literature of the Philippines and the world, but this one is the version 2, wherein we're going to conduct the subject orientation. But before we start, and before I start my video presentation about the subject orientation, I want to introduce myself first. By the way, I'm Miss Maria Jessica L. Semilia, and I will be your subject teacher in 21st Century Literature for the school year 2020 to 2021. So I'll be giving you first a bit of information about me. I'm a graduate of a Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in English, and I got a degree also in Master of Arts in Education, major in Language Teaching. I do handle English subjects in senior high school, but for this semester I'm handling Media Information Literacy subject, and this one 21st Century Literature of the Philippines and the world. For my teaching experience, I'm having my teaching experience already for almost 9 years, including my private school teaching experience and my public school teaching experience, ranging from the grades 1 to 4, going to college, and then going to the junior high school, and now senior high school. So as a teacher of 21st Century Literature of the Philippines and the world, I'm very particular with the literary pieces that we're going to look into. So I'm very also particular with how are we going to critically analyze those literary pieces from the Philippines and the world. So let's now proceed. We're just going to have a fast track of the following, since I already discussed this to the video that I sent to you, which was about the overview. So for the first quarter, 21st Century Literature is divided into 2 quarters, the first quarter and the second quarter. For the first quarter, we do have the Philippine literature, and this is the content standard, which talks about the elements and context of 21st century Philippine literature from the regions. While for the performance standard, you're going to adapt the text into creative forms using multimedia, and also you're going to write a written close analysis of those Philippine literary texts. And these are the MELCs, or the most essential learning competencies, that is inclined with the depth ed curriculum under K-12. As you see, this one is already modified because we are still into the pandemic issue, and we're trying to adopt the new learning system under new normal, which is about the distance learning modular instruction. So we try to limit, and we try to combine some objectives and some competencies that we think and the depth ed can be used also in combining all the topics that are related to each other. So the first one is writing a close analysis and critical interpretation of literary text, which includes that you need to understand the geographic, linguistic, and ethnic dimensions of Philippine literary history. And also, you need to understand also the representative texts and authors from different regions in the Philippines. So another one also, comparing and contrast the various 21st century literary genres and the ones from the earlier genres and periods. And another one also is you're going to discuss different contexts, which enhances the text meanings and enrich the reader's understanding. So another one also for our MELCs, you're going to produce a creative representation of a literary text by applying multimedia and ICT skills. And after doing the adaptation, which is about the movie trailer, you're going to do a self and peer assessment of the creative adaptation of a literary text. based on rationalized criteria prior to presentation. So these are the list of topics that we'll learn at the first quarter. First one is the nature and history of 21st century literature. Lesson 2 will be dealing with representative texts and authors from each region. Lesson 3 will be dealing with 21st century literary genres, elements, structures, and tradition. And for lesson number 4 is contextual reading approaches under biographical context. And for 5, it's about under sociocultural context. And 6 will be under linguistic context. And number 7 will be dealing with contextual reading approaches using critical reading strategies and literature. And the last one will be your performance task already. So these are the course requirements for your performance task. The digital poster or memes, spoken poetry, writing a poem or a story or a poster, doing a poster, critical analysis for biographical, movie analysis for sociocultural, comparative literary analysis for literary, and critical analysis for the combination of the three, the biographical, sociocultural, and literary analysis. And the last one, the final task of yours into the first quarter, which is about the movie trailer. Now let's move on to the second quarter. For the second quarter, we're going to be dealing with world literature, including the Asia, North America, Europe, Latin America, and Africa. While for the content standard, it's the same also, but we're going to go with the context of world literature. And the performance standard, you're going to be doing the same also, but into the world literature context. We're just going to have a variation of task, which is different from the first quarter. So critical paper, an adaptation of a text into other creative forms using multimedia, and writing a close analysis and critical interpretation of literary texts, applying reading approaches, and doing an adaptation of this, and then comparing and contrast the various 21st century literary genres and their elements and structures, and producing a creative representation of a literary text, which is also the same, and then do self and peer assessment of other creative adaptation of a literary text. So let's now proceed with a list of topics that we'll learn for the second quarter. First one is about the nature and history of 21st century literature under the world literature. And we do have also the Asian literature for number 2, lesson number 2. And for lesson number 3, we do have North American literature. Lesson number 4, we do have European literature, and lesson number 5, we do have the Latin American literature, and lesson number 6, we do have the African literature. And the last one, which is your performance task for lesson number 7. So these are the course requirements for the performance task under second quarter. For the first task for the second quarter, we do have the Mega magazine cover for world literature, autograph for Asian literature, and then gallery walk and postcard for North American literature, and then reading memoir for the European literature, and then the pick-up lines will be under Latin America, and then African blog, African literature will be blog or literature, and for the last task for the second quarter is a short film. As you see, for the first quarter, you have only the trailer, but here at the second quarter, you're going to be having the short film. This short film is collaborated with the subject Media and Information Literacy. So this one is a competition, but for the sake of aesthetic. But for my subject, you're gonna still be evaluated based on the following criteria. But for the sake of the appreciation and the certification, we're going to put it into a competition between you, the GAS 1, GAS 2, 3, 4, STEM 1, STEM 2, and the other CSS sections. Let's now proceed. So you will be graded into the following criteria. So this is the grading system. 25% will be for written works, which will deal with quizzes and other written outputs, while for the 50% will be performance tasks, which was explained and was said a while ago. Now, as you see, this one is only equivalent to 75% because the Department of Education is still not releasing a memorandum that we're going to add periodical tests into the grading system. So for the meantime, we're just going to be using only the 75% for the grading system of yours in 21st century literature of the Philippines and the world. So as we go on with our new normal learning system, we're going to use the session guide, which is encrypted and which is a hand-in-hand with your module. Now, what's the use of your session guide? The session guide will guide you on how are you going to use your module, wherein it is indicated in your session guide the time and also the activities to be accomplished. The time wherein it is set there when you should submit your activities. While the activities to be taken is about what are the things that you need to answer and what are the things that you need to accomplish. So that is the use of session guide. Anyway, your advisor already told you about what's the use of session guide, which is encrypted and then which is into your module also. Let's now move on with this class scheduling. I think your advisor already sent to you the class schedule for the school year 2020-21 for the first semester. And I think some of you are into the morning session or into the afternoon session or the Monday to Fridays. But anyway, for your class schedule, we'll be doing the class monitoring even if we are not into the face-to-face. So we do have two types of class monitoring. The first one is the asynchronous consultation hour, and the other one, which is about the synchronous consultation hour. Under asynchronous consultation hour, synchronous consultation hour is the teacher and the student will have online consultation that can be done through video conferencing, Facebook Live, group chat, call, text, and peer teaching. As you see here at synchronous consultation hour, the teacher and the student have a communication. In short, this is a two-way process of learning. Two-way process of learning because the teacher communicates, the student communicates, and then the other way around. So there will be recitation regarding the topic as a schedule. But for my 21st century literature of the Philippines and the world, I'll be using the video conferencing, the group chat, the call to text for communicating with you and also for recitation. And also, if you got questions for my subject, you can also use the following forms. Following forms and means of communication. Now, we'll now be moving with asynchronous consultation hour. Asynchronous consultation hour is this one will be very beneficial for those students who doesn't have cell phones with you, or you don't have the internet connectivity, and you only choose the modular instruction. So student will continue studying what is on the module, and there may be post video, PowerPoint presentation, and other suggested link for students to study. So in short, here at asynchronous consultation hour is you're gonna be the only one who will be studying the modules. You're gonna be doing an independent learning. Okay? Now, how are we gonna do the asynchronous consultation and then the synchronous consultation? When are we going to use that? So this is a class monitoring schedule for the one whole month. So first week we will be doing the asynchronous consultation hour, meaning no forms of communication like chat. So you'll be doing it independently. While for the second week is about the synchronous consultation hour. Third week asynchronous, and then fourth week we'll have the synchronous. And the next month, we'll just repeat the class monitoring. Okay? Now, how are you going to submit the activities? You're going to submit the activities to the following. The first one is a drop-off point. The drop-off point centers are centers wherein your barangay is included. So I think for the Marinduque National High School, we do have 10 clusters for the different drop-off point center. Okay? So another one, you can also submit your activity into Gmail, your email account. You can have also your Yahoo or whatever email you have, but that for Gmail, which is under email, forms of email. Another one is your Google Classroom, and the fourth one is your Messenger, and the fifth one is the official FB group of the subject. While this one, the one that I'm doing is a video presentation. Every time that we're going to have a discussion and every time I'm going to discuss, I'll be posting it into my YouTube channel. That's why I always ask you to like, comment, and then subscribe to my channel, because this will be my form of discussing the topics under my subject, which is about the 21st century literature of the Philippines and the world, and also the media and information literacy subject. Now, I know we are into the modular instruction, the distance learning modular instruction, and then some of you try to choose the modular, and some of you try to choose the blending. But I got rules also, since we're not going to have face-to-face, but I still have rules in my class, in my 21st century literature subject, which are the following. The first one is be on time. I'm very particular with time. Submit your activities and your outputs on time so that you will not be left behind, and then at the same time, it will not bombard also me, and it will not pressure me to check your outputs. That's why you need to submit on time. Another one is be respectful. Not only to me as your teacher, but also be respectful to your classmates, especially when you're doing tasks in terms of group tasks, okay? Next one would be cooperative and participative. For us to have fun in this subject, you need to cooperate and participate with the task that will be given to you. Not only with the collaboration of learning and ideas, but also with the task that will be given to you. So try to participate. Next one is be patient. Not all the time I'll be 24 hours be readily available. But I will always see to it that I will communicate with you the best that I can have, and also be patient in terms of finishing the task. Whenever the task that will be given to you, you try to put your efforts on it and be patient. Another one is be always on the go. You try to look the task that will be given to you as an opportunity. So even if it's just a small task that will be given to you, and it's not, that your expertise were not being shown too much into the task, but you try to look at it as an opportunity for you to grow and be better. Another one is being humble. How are you going to show humility? You can show your humility by being helpful to your classmates who are having struggles and learning the subject area. And the other one is being open-minded for the ideas of your teachers, for the ideas of your classmates, for their suggestions and recommendations for the task to be accomplished, to be a better one. Another one, another online rule and reminder for our 21st century literature is about being positive and be happy. So try to be positive and be happy in our class. I want my students to be happy in my 21st century literature and not take my subject as a burden, okay? So if you're having a hard time dealing with my subject, just tell me and then just ask me, and then we can do arrangement on it. Another one is be original. Though we are not into the face-to-face learning mode, but try to be original with the outputs that will be given to you, okay? So especially we are now into the modern technology, and most of the students do the just copy pasting, okay? So avoid copy pasting and try to be original for your work, for your output, and also be original for yourself. So another one is be inquisitive. Always ask questions if you need to. Always ask questions if you're having a hard time understanding it. But don't just ask questions just to weigh the knowledge of one person, okay? So that's the key. Another one is taking down notes. I'll be sending you videos that will be uploaded into my YouTube channel. And while watching the video, can you please take down notes for you to understand it further, and then also you will easily remember it because you're taking down notes whatever you watch in the video. Another one is have a learning buddy. Your learning buddy will help you in a way that for some time, or there will be time that you're gonna be having struggles in learning the subject, or you're gonna be having a hard time sending the document, or you're gonna be having a hard time learning the information or new updates in your group chat. At least you got a learning buddy that you can count on, okay? Another one, I think, which will be the last for the online rules and reminder, is avoid complaining. Because complaining for me is a negative thing, because we can change the word complaining to recommendation and suggestions. For us to have a good relationship, try not to complain, but try to recommend and suggest, okay? Because complaining for me is a negative attitude. But if you will tell me what to do, and then we can do some arrangement and agreement, so that's better than complaining. Because always remember that this subject, 21st century literature, is between you and me. So your problems can be solved by me. So it's just a mutual agreement between you and me. So if you're having a hard time with my subject, just talk to me and then consult me, and then we're gonna deal with that, okay? So I think that's the last rule of my online rules and reminders. But also, may I remind everyone that now that we're suffering a pandemic, if it's possible that you can send all your outputs to me through your media platforms, do it so that there will be less transmission, and at the same time, it will be easy for me to retrieve the outputs, okay? So try to send it through your email, Messenger, Google Classroom, and other forms of communication, okay? Just notify me that you send already your output, so that I will know that you already sent your output, and I will check on it, okay? So I think that would be my online rules and reminders for this first semester, school year 2020 to 2021. I would like to reiterate DepEd Secretary Briones, and I want to quote, "Education cannot wait." Though we are still suffering with the pandemic issue, learning should not stop. Education and educating people like you, our students, should not be stopped, okay? But I want you to be guided with my last quote for the day. Train your mind to see the good in everything. Positivity is a choice. The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. Have a happy weekend, everyone, and I want to see you next week for our week 0. And prepare also your questions regarding our subject orientation for me to check your attendance next week using your questions. Have a good day, everyone, and stay safe. Maraming salamat po.